The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Lake Oswego, Oregon, on your new fire apparatus, job number 31898. Please utilize this job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting down on the front bumper on the right and left side, you'll find emergency warning lights. Moving to the face of the bumper, you'll find on the passenger side your electronic siren, PA speaker. Moving just inward of that location on the right and left side, you'll find dual air horns. Located on the driver's side face of the bumper, you'll find your mechanical siren. Moving up onto the bumper, you'll find your bell. Moving just inside of that location, you'll find two attachment points. Also located in the center tray area, you'll find a pre-connected hose. Let's move on to the face of the apparatus. Right and left side, you'll find turn indicators. Moving just inward in that location, you'll find your headlight cluster. The outer beam is the low beam, and the beam located on the inside will be the high beam. Moving up onto the top, you'll find two forward-facing emergency lights. Moving up to the windshield, you'll find three windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. Moving further up on the brow, you'll find 5 running lights. Located in the center, you'll find a forward-facing floodlight. And located on the roof of the cab, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. And located in the center, you'll find an opticom. Here are some images just to get a close-up of what we just talked about. This is the tray with the pre-connected hoses. Moving under the Pierce logo is where you'll find the release mechanism to release the hood. Once the hood is open, spring stay. To release the hood, simply bend the spring, releasing the hood. On the passenger side, you'll find the fill location for the windshield wiper fluid. On the driver's side, you'll find instructions for raising and lowering the cab. The red switch is your indicator for raise or lower, and the yellow cable is the mechanism for activating the motor. Moving to the far right hand side in the image, you'll find your power steering fluid, Dextron 3 refill location. We'll now move to the driver's side pump panel area. First, let's start at the top. If you find this indicator is illuminated, your pump is properly engaged. Moving to the left, you'll find a warning placard regarding only trained personnel should operate this vehicle. Underneath that, you'll find the minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 test pressure. The green area here is your foam A. Moving to the right in the gray area, this is going to be your master intake. Moving further to the right, you'll find your master discharge. Between the two of those, this is your test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. And moving to the far right hand side, the amber light that's indicating currently on, this is your PCM fault. Just beneath that, you'll find an audible alarm speaker. Moving down to the left, you're going to find all of your discharges here. First, starting on the left, front discharge A. Moving to the right, you'll find your number 1 cross lay, number 2 cross lay, the 2.5 inch, and also your front discharge. You'll also find your main pump primer, Pierce pressure throttle governor. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of those items here. First, let's talk about the minimum operation maintenance schedule. You can see it has the job number indicated here and also the pump number. You can see the pump test pressures for 150, 200, and 250 psi, associated RPMs for each of those. Moving to the right, once again, you'll find that PCM fault and the audible speaker. Moving in the left upper corner, we'll start with the Husky foam system. This is the red foam module. Moving to the right, your deluge discharge, and just beneath it is the control for the electronic valve. Moving up just to the very top, difficult to see, but this is your rear inlet electronic valve, and this is your rear inlet primer. Moving down to the next section, you'll find your tank fill, and next to it is your tank to pump. Moving just slightly to the right, you're going to find the number 2 passenger side discharge in orange. Once again, electronic Akron valve for that. And as we move down, you'll find the passenger side large diameter discharge in green. Moving all the way to the far right, you'll find the driver's side 2.5-inch pre-connect, and then you'll find the passenger side 2.5 pre-connect. Here are some close-ups of those images. Husky foam system. Just a quick note here that the operating the primer for more than 1 minute continuously may cause damage. That's a caution label regarding that. And then let's go ahead and move down to the next level down. You'll find this is a twist, not a pull. This is your primer drain. Moving from right to left, you'll find your front discharge A and front discharge B drains. And as we move further to the right, you'll find a warning label here regarding not to mix the different types of foam products. And then also behind this access door, you'll find the lever regarding your foam system. At the very bottom, you'll find the associated drains, which are labeled and color-coded. Let's take a look inside. You'll find the manual pump shift override. There is an amber indicator there. And then just up from that, this is going to be the instructions on the front of the door for your foam drain. To the left-hand side, you'll find your driver's side floodlights, passenger side floodlights, and rear floodlights. There's also 3 locations for future switches if needed. Let's take a look at the pump panel here, starting at the lower section. This is the air outlet. There's an air chuck beneath that. It's a twist, not a pull. There's also some warning labels here regarding riding on the side of the apparatus. Moving to the left, you'll find your number 1 discharge in red. It's a 2.5-inch, and just beneath that you'll find your number 3 discharge in blue. The even numbers will be on the passenger side. This is your large diameter intake. Moving to the right, you will find a warning label regarding pressurized caps and the associated hazards with those pressurized caps while removing them. And then moving to the far right, you'll find a garden hose outlet and also the connection for that hose. Let's move all the way down to the lower section here. You'll find your auxiliary driver's inlet. This is a 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet. And then once again, don't mix foam. And then just beneath that, you'll find a draft foam tank lever and also your intake for that foam or drain. Down at the very bottom, you'll find the associated drains color-coded and labeled. Here are some close-ups. Let's go ahead and move now to some of the compartments. We're going to start at the rear compartment here. You can see that there is adjustable shelves in this compartment. Moving forward from that location, you'll find the DEF and diesel fill location. The silver cap is your diesel, and the blue cap is your DEF. This is a 4.5 US gallon tank. In the middle compartment, you'll find your pegboard tool location storage. There are 2 releases. First, this one is the one that opens the mechanism, and there's also a locking mechanism on the hinge side. Moving down to the SCBA storage compartment, you also have additional straps here for bottle storage safety. And as we move forward to that location, you'll find once again adjustable shelves. In some of the locations, you will find access for shoreline outlets. This happens to be a 20 amp shoreline outlet. When plugged into shore power, that will activate. In the upper left-hand corner, you'll find the timer location for airflow. Moving down now, you'll find a warning label here regarding entanglement hazard for hose that's coming off the side of the apparatus, and you'll find 2 mechanisms to release those speed loads. Moving up to the top, you'll find a water level indicator for your tank. Just underneath the apparatus is where you'll find a relief valve. This is a discharge that should not be capped. Moving to the compartments, you'll find two release mechanisms for allowing the shelf to be pulled out and tilt down. And at the very bottom, you'll find a pull-out shelf, which has the release mechanism on the right side. Moving up to the upper right-hand corner in the same compartment, you'll find a shoreline outlet. This is 20 amp service plugs when plugged into shore power. Your middle compartment, along with other compartments, have LED lighting and also adjustable shelving. Before and after the rear tire, you'll find bottle storage locations with straps for safety. Let's move to the rear compartment. You'll find a pull-out style shelf on the bottom. The mechanism to release is on the lower right-hand side. You'll also find in the same compartment, shoreline outlet, 20 amp plug. Let's move to the rear of the apparatus. You will find some placards here regarding warning labels. First, at the very top, you'll find the entanglement hazard. You'll also find pressurized caps and writing on the rear of the apparatus. In the upper left-hand corner, you'll find your backup camera. A couple close-ups of those images now. First, we'll start down at the bottom with the roll-up door, and just above that, your traffic advisor. Moving over to the right-hand side, you'll find your rear inlet. You'll also find a warning label regarding pressurized caps and the associated hazards. Moving just opposite on the left side, you'll find your rear scene light switch. Just above that, you'll find a 24-foot extension ladder and a 14-foot roof ladder. Just above this compartment is where you'll also find additional pike pole storage or long tool storage, and also a 10-foot folding ladder. Let's move around to the side compartment. We'll kind of jump around a little bit here, but this is the release mechanism to allow you to release the hose bundle that is in the storage bin. As we move from this location to the rear section of the apparatus is where you'll find your folding wheel chock storage location. As we move forward to the compartment just behind the rear front doors, you'll find access to this compartment just above the front tires. We'll look to the rear of the apparatus. This is your long board storage or additional handle storage. Let's go ahead and move to the top of the apparatus. You'll find safety identifying diamonds here, which will illuminate in the evening hours or reflect. Those are so that firefighters do not accidentally walk off the edge. You'll also find your water tank fill location from the top, and also your tank A foam fill. Moving up to the upper right hand corner in the image, you'll find your deluge discharge electronic valve. This is the module to allow that valve to be open and closed. A couple of close-ups here of the tank fill and also the foam fill. We'll go ahead and move back up to the front. You'll find this is the location for your engine exhaust. It can be extremely hot, and be cautious. As we move to the left side of the apparatus in this image, you'll find your refill location. This is the small black round refill for your hydraulic oil reservoir. Looking to the center location is where you'll find your deluge discharge. Let's move to the cab area. You'll find two warning labels located here. They are for not walking on this surface. Looking to the rear of the apparatus from the front, you'll find once again that diamond reflective tape. This is for firefighter safety. We're now looking into the two side compartments. Let's go ahead and move inside the cab in the rear section. First, we'll start with the stickers located on all the points of entry for firefighters. These are your warning labels here regarding the use of seat belts. Located in the center is where you'll find your access point for all of your daily checks for your transmission fluid and also engine oil. We'll go through the cab here with just a few images, and then we'll talk specifically about some of the items that are within this area. As we move through the cab, once again, I would like to identify that there are 12-volt access. This is a barrel style and also a USB style plug. Once again, all points of entry have those warning and hazard labels regarding the use of safety belts. Let's go ahead and move to the front cab. This is the officer side. You have a supplemental restraint system. That's the SRS. Do not block this. That's the indication here down at the lower section here for the warning. This is for your airbag. Moving to the right, you have your bell rope. This is to activate your bell on the front of the bumper. Moving to the left, you'll find an air horn switch, mechanical siren. Moving to the very front, you'll find a barrel style 12 volt and also a 12 volt access point for USB. This is the vehicle data recorder port. Let's go ahead and move overhead. You'll find on occasion these warning labels. These are going to be for wire connections to the rear. This is for techs so that they know that there are wires and which wires are actually behind that so they know what they're connecting to. Let's move through the front flood, driver scene flood, driver's side flood, and also perimeter light. There is rear floods, passenger side scene lights, passenger side floods, and also your siren brake. This is a push on, push off. It will illuminate green when it is activated. Located in the center, you'll find your seatbelt information sign, red indicating that there's someone in the seat, although they are not belted. If this changes to a green color, you'll find them in the seat and belted. Just behind the rear seats, you'll also find shoreline outlets. These are 20 amp plugs. You'll also find on the driver's side your S1 breaker panel, which stands for your shore power. Moving now into the driver's space, we're going to find your shoreline outlet. This is a 30 amp plug. Also your air inlet and battery tender. Let's look down at the floorboard. You'll find the air horn and mechanical siren foot pedals. Move back up to the door itself. We'll find once again point of entry, those warning labels, and also hazard stickers. As we move through the cab, you'll also find down at about right ankle location for the operator, you'll find a few warning and caution labels, but you'll also find this manufactured by Pierce Manufacturing. This has a variety of information that can be helpful, considering it's got the gross vehicle weight ratings, the front tire pressures, the VIN number, also all of the components and fluid capacities, and also your job number. Located about the left knee of the operator, you'll find your tech module plug-in, engine, transmission, ABS diagnostic port, and also your display port. And this is also where you'll find all of your information regarding ABS and engine diagnostic, also regen and DPF regen switches. Moving up from that location, you'll find this red master switch. This is your battery switch. Moving over to the left-hand side next to the door, you'll find your ignition, start, and hazard lights. Moving to the right, you'll find your emergency master switch, your headlights, parking lights, and also panel lights. This will dim or brighten the panel lights within that area. Let's go to the cluster here. First in the center, you have your speedometer and tachometer. You also have transmission, oil, DEF level, and water temperature. And on the right-hand side, you'll find your volts, fuel level, and also your front and rear air. Located above and below the speedometer are diagnostic information, and your VIN number is also located on the A pillar in the front cab. Quick view here of the inside of the cab. We'll break down some of these components. Let's first start with the Pierce MUX system. That's the large monitor in the center, and then you also have on the left of that the system parking brake, pull to apply, and push to release. Valuable information can be scrolled through on this MUX system, and please familiarize yourself with that. Moving to the right of that, you'll find your Allison transmission pad with an indication to pump in neutral. You'll also find your front flood, driver's side scene, driver's side flood, perimeter lights, rear flood, passenger side scene, passenger side flood, and also the siren brake. Let's move down to the next set of switches. This is where you're going to find your engine brake on and off switch. You'll also find the setting for your engine brake for low, medium, and high. You'll also find the off-road traction, OK to pump stationary, that's an indicator. water pump, and foam system. Let's move just slightly to the right of this location where you'll find your driver's side cab windows, passenger side cab, and then rear windows also. This is also a location for your mirror heat. Moving up to the top, you've got a lot of future location switches, but you have an auto start and a load manager. And on the very top is where you'll find your mirror controls for the left and right mirror. Moving to the very center, accessible by both passenger and driver, you'll find the climate control. Moving to the left overhead of the the engineer, you'll find this placard. This is going to be the height, length, and gross vehicle weight rating as it comes from Pierce Manufacturing without any revised things added. It also has on the lower portion your job number 31898. Let's move just to the right of that location and we'll start with these set of switches, which is your emergency master, your roof light, front warning light, side warning, rear warning light, upper rear warning, the opticom located in the light bar, and also your electronic or siren control. Let's move further to the right where you'll find your traffic advisor. This is the same location next to it where your speaker system for your PA is and also your electronic siren. Moving further to the right, you'll find your seatbelt information, which we've already discussed, and also your pump pressure. Moving down now to the lower section of the pump panel, you'll find this warning label regarding not riding on the side of the apparatus when in motion, large diameter intake. There's also an additional warning label here regarding pressurized caps. As we move further down, you'll find your auxiliary 2.5-inch inlet. And as we move up to the top in the orange, you'll find a 2.5-inch discharge, and just next to it you'll find the override because this is an electronic valve. Moving down to the next larger, this is going to be a large diameter discharge, and next to it you'll also find the override associated with it because it's an electronic valve once again. At the very bottom you'll find all of your associated drains for those individual valves in this area. They are color coded and also labeled. Behind the officer or driver's seat you'll find once again shore power outlet 20 amp. You'll also find your S1, which is the shore power, and you'll also find the radio speaker for your unit radio, and then just beneath that you'll find a digital converter. This is for your AC inputs. Congratulations, Lake Oswego, Oregon, job number 31898. If you have any questions as to the content of this video, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.